Hello, this is Martin from Gemini Walk and Talk. It has been 2 months since I was laid off from my tech job, and I made a video back then, and a lot of people responded very positively and encouraging me, and I got hundreds of comments, so much feedback. Thank you all so very much. So if you haven't seen video that one, see that one, but this is a follow-up, and I wanted to say what is on my mind now 2 months after I have been laid off, and what really is my plan forward, because I have had now time to think about things. I've had a time to work on a few things as well, and I can tell you how it's going and what my plan is going forward. So let's begin this. The first thing is, yes, I was laid off after actually 17 years in technology. I had said 14 in my last video, but I had gotten it wrong. It was actually 17 years. And some people said, you know what, it sounds like you were really burned out. And I have to agree, I was very burned out. And now I've started resting up, and my passion for technology has started returning to a good degree. Because if you heard that video, you know, I talked about how I really have tasted freedom, and I don't know if I can go back to that life. And, you know, I probably sounded like I'm ready to give up this kind of career. I've had time to think about it, and my thoughts are evolving. I wouldn't say I'm 100% settled on anything yet, but what I have been doing is I have been working on video production, mostly for this channel, but also another 2 channels I'm contributing to. So a lot of video production. I would say I'm doing that part-time because I also have 2 little children, and I've been also taking care of them. And so between those 2 things, it's actually rather scary how little time I have. I have almost no time at all, and that's without working. So in my mind, I'm thinking, holy hell, how am I going to return to work when my days are already completely maxed? And that's without a job. So that part is actually a little scary with 2 little children. Since the baby was born in July, I haven't actually had to work full-time. I've only worked part-time on the business a little bit. And so that is one side of things. I've been working. This channel has monetized to a large degree because of that video about my layoff I made. Thank you everyone who watched it again. And now this channel is actually making money, so that's a positive improvement. You know, I have had a long time passion for video production, and I've wanted to do it full-time for so long, but it's just that my tech career has been so much more lucrative, and it's kind of like leaving low-hanging fruit out there. I don't want to do that. And so I came here to make this update. Behind me is the South Lake Union neighborhood of Seattle, where I used to work and where Amazon is, and also Google is right there, Facebook is right there, Apple is that way, I think, and Microsoft has offices down here, and so on. So I came here because it's a good location for this kind of video to think about my future. Will I restart my career in technology after this layoff? It's also a very beautiful day. I'm going to move away from the sun in a second so that you can see better. But I'm walking by the lake, which is stimulating. Beautiful things are always stimulating to me, and so I'm going to lay out my thoughts here. So like I said, even without a full-time job, I have been completely busy, and that is madness. The video production, it takes me about half a day to record a video and to also go edit and release all the keywording, etc., trying to get it to take off. I've put out something like 20 videos in 2 months, which is a lot. It's a high pace. And then we went on vacation for Thanksgiving, and it's kind of slowed down, but then it starts cutting into your views, and you start thinking, it's all crashing and burning, I can't stop now. So, you know, as nice as it sounds, you know, quit working and start making videos, it actually is also a lot of work, but the payout is slow. It's really slow because it's still in the realm of social media, and it takes a very long time to build a following to the level that helps you get paid well. And so for that reason, I've made something like a bit over $200 for the videos I've made, and my views are way over 100,000 already. So I have a lot of views, and especially the hours watched, because my videos have been very long in this commentary format I'm doing. The watch time is huge, and yet the payouts are still low. It's going to take a long time. Now I'm 2 months in after my layoff, which means I have 1 month or left for my severance pay, not even full month anymore at this point. So I will very quickly end without severance pay. And so while I had severance pay and still have it, it's very nice to live the life exactly that I want. I can spend time on my passion, video production, and build up my real business and asset that belongs to me. And I can live the way I want to live, you know, structuring my day perfectly how I want it, work exactly on what I want to do, nobody telling me anything. Then I spend time with my children, which is also huge to me. I've been going to the sauna and the gym and on these long walks. You know, I feel good, I feel great about how I'm living. But when the severance pay expires, that will no longer be so. And I'm already starting getting in my mind these little alerts that it's coming. I'm starting to get a little anxiety creeping in. And that's the other thing, this life I have been able to live in the last 2 months has been completely stress-free almost, even with a baby and a 3-year-old who are a lot of work. And even putting out 20 videos, I have the mindset that I haven't stressed at all, and I feel so good about that. But now the stress is starting to creep up because I'll talk about finances as well, but it's like if I run out of money, stress will come back very quickly, and I will quickly start losing money as soon as my severance pay runs out. And that means that it's no longer so stress-free. So what is the solution here? Well, I have a game plan. It's kind of multi-tiered approach, and it explores different direction, and I'm not sure exactly what will end up happening, but it will settle somewhere in the direction that I will talk about just now. And so, like I said, part 1 of my plan is to produce more video. We already had 2 existing channels, and I've started this 3rd channel. So we have a family business basically to produce media. We have had it since 2017. Before that, we had it as a photography and a tourism business also. And so for that reason, I'm okay with that. You know, there's something I can immediately jump on and be productive and start working towards increasing our income. And I figure if I continue at the current pace, it's grown, you know, from nothing basically, from 0 to now I have 2,000 subscribers, over 100,000 views, thousands and thousands of watch time. I'm starting to make a few hundred a month. If I continue for another 6 months to a year, I'll probably start making something like $2,000–3,000. And that's given that I continue succeeding, that I get a little lucky here and there. And still, that is not enough to close the cost of living gap that I'm leaving behind, and very far from what I can be making as a tech employee somewhere and as what I was making before. So, you know, I'm coming from this really high, kind of, whatever you call it, high horse. The wages of tech workers are huge compared to everything else in this economy. So when I lose that job, now I'm starting to compare, well, look at what I'm making now, $200 a month, and I have severance, okay, that plugs the hole for 3 months. After that, I'm actually obliged to start looking for a job based on getting unemployment benefits at that point. So if I don't start applying for work, I won't get any assistance further on. And 2, I really should be looking for a job anyway, because you see the discrepancy in the kind of money that I can be making readily is too big. It would take years, if ever, for me to build up this social type of media, type of video business to the point where it can match or come close to my tech wage. And you know, that for that reason, that really kind of chews at you in your mind. You're like, oh man, I could be saving for my future more. I could be making sure my family is very well off, etc. And you know, the extra incentive is that if you are looking for work, you actually are able to apply for unemployment benefits, and that way you can actually continue on for a bit to find exactly what you're looking for. Now, when it comes to what I'm looking for, that's actually a huge part of the puzzle, because it's not very obvious. Like I said in my previous video, I worked in streaming for about 5 years, and before that I was in advertising basically on the Amazon platform. I worked in the Amazon advertising organization, doing all kinds of stuff with e-commerce and ads and all kinds of stuff, yes. But now the way things have gone, streaming is basically dead, forget about it, because like I explained back then, everything's maxed out, like everyone is doing the same thing. And once you do the same app, everyone's doing the same app, same recommendation algorithm, same everything. Once you do it, there's really not much to do. Recently, there was the Mike Tyson and Jake Paul staged fight. And that thing got so huge, everyone was talking about it, and it crashed Netflix. And even my views crashed on YouTube because everyone was watching the fight. So what happened is that was the most streamed event ever. It's like a live event, and that's kind of the pinnacle of streaming. If you can stream that, it crashed, they'll fix it, etc. But what else do you do with streaming? All the apps are the same. Now you can do live sports, hundreds of millions of people watching, and there's really nothing else you can do. Not on the front end, not on the back end, not anywhere. And it's no secret, and I had talked about this as well, the entire field is going towards AI. However, when I asked at my company, which is one of the leaders in streaming, they said, no, we don't have any AI. Well, that means that the industry is moving without me. I'm still out there working on something that is maxed out technologically, and there's no vigor, there's no future there. And meanwhile, AI is going 1,000 miles per hour. So everybody who's into AI is going to be getting the good jobs, getting the big payouts, doing the exciting things. And because of that, I've decided I should start learning AI. And that aligns well with another endeavor which I have been cooking up on the side. I will explain it a bit vaguely, but because I want to get it off the ground before I tell you exactly what it is. But I have another business concept which has to do with AI, and I will try that. Now, the prerequisites for that, obviously I have to know some about AI to be able to do it. And I also have to have serious hardware, actually. When you look into what it takes to run models locally, it takes a lot of hardware. So to that end, I patiently waited for Black Friday, and I was able to purchase a massive computer by Lenovo. It's called the Legion, and that computer is really powerful. It has the crazy NVIDIA 4000 something RTX. Basically, it's huge. Like, I've never seen a graphics card so enormous. Anyway, that is what it takes to run AI, and I need to start running things locally, because from the off-the-shelf vendors that I've looked into, it does not reach the level that I needed to for the business idea I have. So it turns out, that's not surprising at all. You have to install it yourself, and usually locally. You can do cloud, but that costs money. And you install it locally, and you start experimenting, learning how to train your own model that you can customize to the degree you need it to, so that it can do what you need. Now, what do I need to accomplish? Well, there are so many applications or just purposes that you can use AI for now. And I'll make many more videos about AI as I'm learning. You can follow my journey about learning AI, and I'll share a lot about what I'm up to. But me being a long-time graphic user interface developer, and being a long-time photographer and videographer, I am naturally drawn to the image generation type of AI capability, and because of that, it's what I'm going to focus on. Now, how do you monetize that? I'll leave that part for another video, how I plan to make money with it, because you have to end up with some kind of product. But I'll explain something about a certain model of doing it in just 1 second. So if you want to make money with AI, the way I see it, you have two options generally. One option is to make a complete product. There's the final product, the generation, whether you make an image or whatever kind of output you get AI to produce, you can sell that or monetize that. Or you can make a service which allows people to create their own that they need for some purpose. And there's been this guy, for example, Peter Levels, who has made a lot of money standing up such a service, and he uses really basic coding techniques, by the way, like PHP and jQuery is almost laughable, and he makes tons of money. He makes millions over time, and something like 50, 60, 70, I don't know how much he makes a month. He's actually public with what he's making as a solo developer, and he's been going around doing these podcasts, and he shares what he's doing, and on Twitter he shares a lot, or X now it's called. So you can follow him. He's very interesting. He has multiple businesses that he spun up by himself. And what he does is he takes some open source software, some stuff off the shelf, and then he tries to find a business kind of opportunity, really, that he can sell to people. And he has been able to successfully do it multiple times now. He has one called Nomad List, where he is telling people about all the world cities where you can move and how it is for living on there, get some kind of information if you're planning a relocation, usually as a digital nomad. And he made a bunch of money with that, and then later AI started coming out, and he has some AI service which basically allows people to upload their photo and then see themselves in all kinds of different scenarios. It's like a photorealistic AI, which will take an upload and then it will reproduce your image, put you in a very fancy kind of scenario or whatever else, You can pretend like you're a model and it will make model shots of you and stuff like that. So people seem to be signing up for that kind of thing. And what he's done is basically he's running this AI, he's trained the models in certain ways, and he has basically fine-tuned that AI, and then he has made it customer facing, and he has coded to that end and done training to that end, and it seems to be working for him because people are paying the premium price and stuff like that. So this is one way you can go about it. Now the problem with that way is that it may cost you a lot of work, not money but work, and some money too, trying to get that off the ground using cloud services, etc. But you can code and work yourself really hard, and in the end you may not get anything out of it. So it really comes down to being able to find a business model which works. And you don't have to be even the best coder, but you have to find something. You have to know the market well enough and present some service or product on this market which people are willing to pay for. And then if you're good enough to execute the whole project A to Z, then you have to, or you can do that, you can offer it for sale by yourself without paying wages. But if you have any kind of hurdles, you may have to subcontract, you may have to get employees. Scaling it is another whole issue. But in the end of the day, if you're not good at coming up with what is in demand and people are willing to pay for, and not just that, but once you build it, you have to be able to sell it and market it and advertise it, then you get nothing for it. And so I don't know if I'm yet in a position to do that kind of build-up. I know, for example, Peter Levels, while he was building these things, he was working from cheap places in the world, like Thailand and so on. And that's why he had that website with the nomads. And many people chose that in the past decade or two. And they went out there to cheap places so they can build up these businesses cheaply. Maybe they work as a part-timer, maybe they're building in the nights or weekends, trying to get the product out, and that's one way of doing it. And when I look at his income these days that he shares, I'm like, holy hell, why didn't I do that instead of working for Amazon? Now I would own all this, pumping business instead of getting laid off, But the truth is that I cannot do that right now because I have a wife and 2 children, and I live in one of the top 10 most expensive cities in the world, Seattle. Last I checked yesterday is actually number 8 in cost of living, only behind places like Switzerland, New York, San Francisco, the capital of Iceland, Reykjavik, and stuff like that. And with 2 kids and the top 10 cost of living, it would be extremely expensive for me to not work on anything that pays me immediately and have to build out this business with a dubious outcome. So solo development around AI is an option, but I don't know if I can actually pay my bills that way truly. And if I was to go take everything to Southeast Asia or Latin America or Eastern Europe, I probably can actually, even with 2 kids and a wife. But the problem with that is that I don't really know if I can raise my children well in those places, to be honest. Like, I need to consider their environment, their schooling, what language is spoken, the culture, things like that. So, for example, if you look at Thailand, their top city, Bangkok, has atrocious quality of air, and I don't want my children, as their babies and toddlers, to be breathing the worst air on the planet almost. And then you have to consider things like how big are the houses that people are actually able to get in those places. Typically, they're like a quarter to half the size of a house in the US, and little children need a lot of space. So stuff like that, I still have it quite good here, and I don't quite actually see the possibility. Eastern Europe is another option, but again, language issues. And ultimately, if I raise my children somewhere else, they'll be less adapted and less able to be competitive in this environment here. And where we do live right now has among the best economies in the world, has a flourishing technological sector, superb education, really good environment. And for all these reasons, having children, I probably should keep them here. So yeah, that kind of rules out some of my options if I was to work on a business. But I still think there is a type of business which is of the other kind, which is to create some kind of product which people buy. And for that reason, I am going to learn. So now I have bought the computer, and I will now take a course or a few for AI, and then I'll focus on image generation, and I'll start creating certain images. And later I want to get into video generation as well, and then I will try to have a creative product created, which then hopefully people will buy, and then I can start a business. But this is not all, because this will also take time, and I will again run out of severance payments. So I'm thinking, as I'm learning AI, all the learning that I'm doing, and I'm practicing trying to get this business going, and is really the same learning which I would have to do if I was to get a job with AI. And here's really where the two things meet. I have two things as a potential goal, which I can just doing the same thing feed into, and that's really kind of how you accelerate your efforts. So again, I have the hardware, I'm going to take the courses, and then there are two goals from that. One is to create a product which will allow me to learn the technology well, and then having learned that technology, come January, I will be able to start applying hopefully for AI jobs. I don't know exactly how long my learning will take, because we have Christmas break coming. We're going to Hawaii to see family, and I'll be doing my course on my phone basically. That's what I'm going to be doing, because I won't even have the computer to try things on the machine. So I'll have to just learn theory for 2 weeks over Christmas and New Year's, and come back with that knowledge and immediately start trying to run that stuff on the hardware and see how far I get. I have some friends giving me tips. I've been tuned into informational feeds about this stuff. So I've been keeping an eye on it, but I haven't done a true deep dive because I haven't had the computer. My previous computer was an awesome iMac, but it was 10 years old now. It's still there in my bedroom, but it cannot run the AI. I tried. I was running Stable Diffusion. It was a disaster. So I was like, well, I need to finally catch up, because I was doing everything that I needed to do on this Mac for 10 years. It was beautiful. But now it's all about that NVIDIA graphics card, the 4070 or something like that, RTX. And there are many other kinds, but this one, from what I gather, is really powerful. I was able to get a good deal on it, and now I can start my learning and in earnest actually ramp this up. So yeah, I have cut out the learning materials. I'm looking into like creating the proper workflows, because that really is a lot of what AI work comes down to. It's so new that you can waste a lot of time But if you have a good workflow, you actually create a lot of things fast. You know, AI is a great accelerator if you know what you're doing, which means knowing the correct workflow to do it. And so I need a workflow, and then I need to start learning how to exactly train these models, because there's a specific type of imagery that I need created for the type of thing that I intend to sell. And once that happens, I have to be able to get it consistently, because this is where the sticking point has been for me. I can go into like Bing or DALL-E or ChatGPT, and I ask it, generate this, generate that, and it looks beautiful. And the truth is, after I ask for the same type of thing, if I try to make a continuous image generation series out of that, it loses the context within like 3, 4, 5 times, and then it basically stops accepting what you're talking about. Just like, oh, we just talked about these 3, 4 things, and you did it, and it was cool and consistent, and then boom, it's completely disappeared. Now you're generating something totally off. To be able to keep that style consistent, I asked a friend that can do this, and he said, yeah, it took me 12 hours on a really fast computer to train the model to do this actual style right here. And so this is one style, one character, 12 hours on a fast machine, and then you can produce that image consistently. You cannot do that with off-the-shelf service at the moment. And that's kind of what that guy Peter Levos is doing. He has trained a model that allows an upload and then to consistently know what to do with that. And because of that, I will do a significant amount of learning. Now the issue again is when, because I wake up in the morning, I take my 3-year-old to school. I have to get him ready, make him breakfast, take him to school, and then he's at school for like 4 hours, in which time we still have one child to take care of who's a baby, and is often handheld and fed and cries, and someone still has to be with him. So I generally pick that child up and take care of the kid, because my wife, the mother, has been with him all night at that point. So I take him from her for about 3 hours, and that's the break she gets to work on what she needs to do, because I'll talk about that too, how, you know, we're keeping her business going, even with 2 children, one of which just about was a newborn. But we have managed to continue the business that she does on YouTube, and also a bit here locally in Seattle, so that we can actually have some alternative income that isn't my job, which currently doesn't exist. And that really helps, by the way, because, you know, if my cost of living is something like $10,000, $11,000 in Seattle, we're talking mortgage, car payments, bills, food, private school, whole bunch of stuff, truly, home breaking stuff like home ownership expenses. If that is so, I would have to close the gap of $10,000, $11,000 immediately after getting laid off, almost 3 months, and that's it, of severance. And so, being that my wife has a business, and that I've been able to help with the childcare and with the business as well, so that she can continue it even with the little children instead of being like a full-time stay-at-home mom type of thing. Now that is really paying off well, because now the gap that I have to close, initially at least, with my new businesses that I'm talking about, there's 2, and one is video production, mostly for this channel, but some others, and 2, the type of AI imagery which I'm working on. If I can build up that to make $3,000 to $4,000 in my estimation a month, we will close the gap of having solid finances, so we don't have to tap into savings after my severance runs out. But that will not happen on time. It will happen perhaps in the summer, perhaps next year, perhaps the year after. So the truth is that I'm looking at something about 1 to 2 to 3 years of time needed for our businesses to be robust, fully capable of taking care of our living expenses in this city here in Seattle, which again, yesterday I checked, was number 8 in cost of living in the entire world. And because of that, I will have to start looking next month. Right now is December. I'll have to start looking for a job the first week of January, basically, maybe even a little earlier than that. Start sending applications. But again, there is synergy between my goals with the business and the goal with getting a new job, because all the excitement in the workforce right now in tech, all the investment, all the progress, everything is in AI. And for me to get into AI, I have to ramp up. I've been working on other parts of technology which are also very, engrossing and consuming, and they have been my focus, my specialization, and they have allowed me to get this far. But I don't feel that I'm going back to that. People write comments on my layoff video saying, oh, you can no longer write React for $500,000 a year. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. But I don't think I'm going back to that, because indeed what I was doing 5 to 10 years ago is no longer on the cusp. It's no longer so cutting edge, and it will not pay as it is, and the demand is going to be such. So besides, I had already moved over to management anyway for the last 4 years. So my goal is to remain a manager, but to go into the realm of AI. And for that reason, I'm going to do a lot of learning, so that I can go into a company which does AI, and I will know what I'm talking about. I will be able to be productive, and I will be hopefully able to get such a job. And if I do that, then this downtime that I have from the layoff will have allowed me to do that. It will help me, because I can retrain myself to some degree. Obviously most of the learning happens on the job, but it also is good to go and learn beforehand, especially when it comes to passing an interview. And because of that, this time now is indispensable. I wanted to save some money for obvious reasons by waiting until Black Friday to get a good computer. But now that has been done, and we're redoing our studio and our office and everything in the house, also for YouTube purposes, but also because I just got this new computer. And yeah, that's really my plan. I know I'm being vague about the business I'm starting, but I want to actually get it off the ground where I actually have something to show, and I have some product that you can look at. And when I take it that far, I'll do another update, as well as how my job search is going and how my training in AI is going, because I'll be starting that practically now, probably a week or two from now, especially as we go on our winter Christmas break. And so I'm picking out some courses now that I have the hardware, and I'm starting my learning. I am such a learner that I like to get the big picture before I actually go jump into stuff, because I find that to be more efficient. So I want a course on AI which will start early. It will start with the basics, and I will get a big picture. I want to know exactly where things are, so that I know then where to apply my effort. It's very important. When I was doing user interface, it took a lot of thinking and reading to understand exactly what will do best for you in particular. So I'm going to do the same thing with AI. I want to start generally to learn about all this stuff. And I have an overview about it, obviously, having worked in tech for so long. But it's not the big picture and the full picture that I have. I want some hands-on experience with running these models, training these models locally. Then I need to start scripting workflows for using the models. And I will start from the beginning. I have learned that the big companies like Amazon and Google, by the way, this is the Google office in Seattle right here, and Amazon is all over this way. Companies like Amazon, like Google, IBM, NVIDIA, Microsoft are all running free AI courses, and they've all made commitments that they'll offer free education in AI to millions of people by the year 2030 or something like that. So you see how now these companies are all pushing into AI. If you look at their stock valuations, whoever has AI, that's who is pumping. NVIDIA most famously, because they make the chips, and I'm sure they're working on their own AI because, again, they can run it. Then you have all the other competition that I just mentioned. All these companies are saying we are on the cusp of major transformation of technology, of the workforce, and ultimately of the world, because of how we are about to do things. We're gonna do everything with AI. It won't be just your brain banging your head against the wall. As a coder, you will be using an advanced kind of a model, really, whatever you can call it. You can call it many things, really. And I'll make another video, by the way, of like a rough outline of AI and exactly what it is, what it does, and where we are with it, because there's a lot of hype. There's a lot of it's moving really fast. So what it can do today can be limited, and you look in like a month or two and it's gone through the roof and stuff like that. For a long time it was really slowly cooking, and I'm saying like decades. It was really slowly building out over decades, and finally it became usable just about a few years ago, and now everything's about that. So you see this momentum has now reaching crescendo, and it's like you either get on board with it or you don't, and you get left behind. Even like middle school students are writing their homework with ChatGPT, I heard, and nobody cares to stop them. It's kind of more labor consuming to try to police that, and so it's being let slide, from what I heard in schools. And so there you go. If a middle schooler is using AI to do school, like, the ship has already sailed. If you are not using it, you're gonna get left behind. So if you can, find the time and learn it, because if you don't, many millions of people will learn it, and they will push you out of the workforce, not in any way to be mean, simply because everything will be done that way. It will be so much more efficient. And I've seen, for example, scripting and user interface even getting to the point where you can ask ChatGPT, hey, make me a UI for a currency converter, and it will make, it's very basic, but it will write it out and actually run it for you. And it's like, oh, input your dollars, now it's in yen, now it's in euro, and you have a UI and you have the logic and everything within 1-2 seconds. And that's what we're talking about here. That kind of velocity is already on the cusp. It may already have sailed. Now, Elon Musk has been talking about this for a long time. I guess he saw it coming. A lot of people didn't as much and still don't, but he has been saying that we are really close to that tipping point where everything now becomes driven by AI. And if you're not in the game, it's over for you. And that has to do with employment a whole lot, because before we had computers and emails, we had paper and phones, and no one does things that way anymore. And soon everyone will be using AI for everything as well. And for that reason, you will not be able to find work if you don't. You will be left behind. And because the pace is increasing so fast, you may not have that much time. You may get left behind, and millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of people may be left behind, and you may not be able to train yourself on time and never be able to re-enter the workforce. I got comments like that as well on the layoff video, where people are saying that, yeah, I quit 14 years. After 14 years, I got laid off, never found a job again. 20 years experience, never found a job again. So many people said that. And combined with altogether strained economic and financial conditions at the moment, it has become a completely different situation to look for work than it was 5 years ago, for example. And especially 3 years ago, there was like a massive hiring spree, which actually led to all these layoffs that we're having. But that's the truth. So it's going to be hard for me to find a job for these reasons, but if I don't take this opportunity to retrain myself, I may never be able to return. And in case I learn and I become good and actually manage to make money with AI without employment, I will still have benefited greatly from learning it. And if I don't make money on my own, then hopefully I get good enough that I get such a job at least, so I'm not in danger of getting spit out of the workforce forever, which has happened to a lot of people. And some people are saying, I am now cutting grass or doing landscaping or putting up fences, and I'm so much happier than working with computers. Well, that's great, and that's kind of what video production is to me. The passion business, the business, the lifestyle business, which actually completely matches what I want from life to a large degree. But I still don't see that being able to do well for us in under 6 months. And so I have to find a way to continue working for at least 2-3 years. And if I find myself, all these companies here actually on top of it when it comes to this new technology that I'm describing, and if I go into somewhere and it's really exciting, I am in a good place and I'm learning a lot and I'm applying my skill and I'm living well there, and obviously financially I'll be okay as well. And sure, I'll do that for longer. The issue is obviously going to be hard with 2 young kids, but it will come down to hiring more babysitting help type of stuff like that, or later we'll be sending the baby to preschool as well, but that's 2.5 years out, or 2 years or so. So in 2 years I have some kind of relief when it comes to both of the children being in school. Until then, we have to kind of fight hard for all this stuff. It's not that easy, but many people in the world have had it worse before and still do. I'm still very, very blessed in what I do, what education I've been able to get, what kind of jobs I've been able to get. Just the fact that I have all this opportunity around me. I've been walking through Salt Lake Union here in Seattle. Countless major multi-billion-dollar corporations, some of them are trillion-dollar corporations, right here. So I have this blessing that I happen to live here. I've already permanently settled here. I'm able to actually pay my mortgage. That's not in any sort of danger for any foreseeable future. So, there's a lot of blessings. Just having the family to motivate me, etc., is also very important to me. And so I have a whole lot more to be grateful for than to complain for. And you may think, my expectations are high, but that's because of the life I've lived and the opportunities I have been able to have. I also got such comments. They're like, oh, look at you being so entitled. I'm like, not really, because I've worked for it all. And if my goals are high, that's because of where I find myself. I've already done what it takes to get here. And if I work on a video production business, I work for it. If I work on AI, I still work for it. None of it comes free, to be honest. And it actually is easier to go and work somewhere else for a paycheck as an employee than it is to create a business. So for now, I'm actually doing what is harder and pays a lot less. And I am getting a taste of, what it is like. It's not at all easy. I've also seen my wife do it for over 10 years now, running her own business. That stuff is hard. You put in so much work, there's no one to back you up. And if it's a slow month, nobody's paying you. At work, as an employee, when it's a slow month and you still get your wage, that's a huge difference. So yeah, those are my thoughts at the moment. I will come back, make more updates about the business I'm starting and about my learning in AI. I'm going to make a general AI video, and then I'm going to share some resources and my learnings so far, so you can follow along on my journey into this. And yeah, we'll stay tuned. I will continue posting on this channel very frequently, hopefully 2-3 times a week, because that's one of the 2 businesses that I'm working on. I really love making these commentary videos, and I have been encouraged greatly by the comments and the feedback of all kinds. All of them are getting lots of watch time, lots of likes, lots of comments, lots of people complimenting. It's a great discussion going on. It's really helped me feel like I can do this well, and I'm going to continue for sure doing this as I explore as well the endeavors that I just mentioned and look for work as well. So that's it from now. I'll come back soon with another update. See you later.